Think California is paradise? Think again. The Golden State is grappling with 11 huge problems it just can't seem to fix. Water supplies are at record lows, reservoirs hovering near 25% of capacity this fall. Wildfires now scorch up to 2 million acres a year. Homelessness? Nearly 170,000 people sleeping outdoors, with shelter beds filling faster than you can say pumpkin latte. Housing prices jumped over 45% in 5 years. Meanwhile, taxes climb, traffic snarls choke commutes, and income gaps widen while paychecks barely budge. Schools lose funding, transit systems lag, energy bills spike, and pollution levels still flirt with unsafe zones. And knock-on effects: mental health crises, crime spikes, bureaucracy pile up. Ready to dig in before the next big meltdown? Curious how deep it goes? Stay tuned to uncover the chaos. Wildfires in California are out of control and forest management keeps falling short. In 2024, the state saw 8,024 wildfires that burned over 1,050,000 acres. That's not a patch of forest, that's more than 1,600 square miles incinerated. More ground than some small U.S. states. Flames are now a near annual rite of passage. 2025 is on track for 525,000 acres burned already this year. Meanwhile, fuel load, dried brush, dead trees, dry undergrowth piles up like a bad Airbnb review for the ecosystem. It's like California's forest got stuck on high-risk mode, but never got the memo about cleanup. And each wildfire season feels less like a calamity and more like déjà vu plus smoke. Traffic in California is a full-blown headache. Commuters in areas like the Bay Area who drive alone spend about 29 minutes door-to-door on average, while folks using public transit are stuck with a 50-minute commute that's a 70% longer ride. Every solo driver wastes about 4 to 5 extra minutes each morning thanks to congestion that adds up to roughly 2.3 billion hours lost per year across the state. And yet almost 3/4 of commutes are still done by car, about 74%, while public transit use remains near just 13%. It's like Californians are stuck in traffic purgatory, where commute times stretch, delays pile up, and even public transit feels like taking the scenic route. Education in California might get plenty of money, but funding gaps still cause big headaches. Even though spending per student in K-12 schools recently rose to roughly $25,155 from all sources, many districts still fall short of what's needed to deliver quality education. Across the state, about 78% of students attend schools that don't meet adequate funding standards, meaning nearly 8 in 10 kids are in under-resourced districts. That leaves classrooms with outdated textbooks, overcrowded halls, strained support services, and some kids missing out on the basics. It's as if California bought a premium sports car, but forgot to fuel it properly. Pollution in California is worse than most people admit, and air quality issues keep piling up. According to the 2025 State of the Air Report, about 88% of Californians live in counties impacted by unhealthy air pollution at some point of the year. Cities like Los Angeles and Bakersfield consistently top the lists for worst ozone and particle pollution in the U.S. In some areas, fine particulate matter, PM 2.5, lingers above safe thresholds for much of the year, meaning many residents are breathing smog stew instead of fresh air. So yeah, living in sunny, laid-back Cali sometimes means wheezing your way through another smoggy morning. Pollution isn't just a seasonal nuisance. For millions, it's everyday background noise. Drug abuse in California has morphed into a full-blown epidemic, and it's only getting worse. In 2023, the state recorded roughly 11,359 drug-related overdose deaths, an age-adjusted rate of about 29.4 per 100,000 residents. Fatal overdoses driven by synthetic opioids, especially fentanyl, soared. Fentanyl-involved deaths rose from around 0.2 per 100,000 in 2013 to over 18 per 100,000 in 2023. That means what could be a deadly dose no larger than a few grains of salt is wrecking lives like a stealth ninja targeting unsuspecting households. For many young Californians, drug overdose is now among the leading causes of death. Treatment and prevention efforts haven't kept pace. Emergency room visits for non-heroin opioid incidents have tripled since 2019. It's a crisis that doesn't punch a warning, it barges in uninvited, and California still hasn't found the eject button. California's income inequality is brutal and getting worse. In 2023, households at the 90th percentile earned about $336,000 a year, while those at the 10th percentile brought in just $30,000. That's roughly an 11-to-1 gap. Top earners now make 3 times more than a typical median income family, about $114,000, compared with just double in 1980. Meanwhile, the richest 1% pocketed nearly 1/3 of all income reported in the state during the pandemic rebound, even as most people saw stagnant or shrinking real wage gains. It's like everyone's invited to the same party, but only a handful get served the champagne. California still struggles with drought and water shortages, even when it seems like rain might save the day. Many parts of the state remain vulnerable. As of mid-2025, only about 24% of California is free of any drought designation. Meanwhile, major reservoir levels bounce around. After an especially dry stretch, some reservoirs only reached around 50–60% of capacity in recent years. That means water restrictions, dry lawns, and worry over whether farms and cities will have enough for summer. It's a bit like ordering a salad and getting a dry cracker. You hoped for plenty of water, but what you got barely holds a drizzle. Even during wet winters, supply often isn't enough to erase years of drought fatigue. Living in California often feels like you're paying for a luxury you barely get to enjoy. Housing costs are sky high. As of late 2024, the median home price was around $773,000. Renters aren't spared. Median monthly rent hovers near $2,100, making California one of the most expensive rental markets in the country. About 20% of households now spend more than half their income on shelter, the largest share in the nation. In many cities, buying a normal house means committing 70 to 80% of median income to housing costs. It's like living in a high-end movie, great visuals, terrible rent. The high cost of living isn't just a number, it's a stress test on everyday life. Crime and public safety remain a stubborn headache in California, with some numbers improving, but plenty of trouble still lingering. In 2024, overall violent crime dropped by about 6%, and property crime by roughly 8.4%, nudging the state's homicide rate down to 4.3 per 100,000, the second lowest since 1966. Still, in 2024, the state saw nearly 191,641 violent crimes, including over 128,000 aggravated assaults and almost 47,000 robberies. Many communities still feel unsafe. For some people living here, drive-by anxiety is a real commuter perk. Attempts to strengthen public safety, more police, tougher laws, better enforcement matter. But when gun-fueled violence, theft, and property crimes keep returning like uninvited guests, it's hard for anyone to get comfortable. Mental health care access in California is seriously struggling, and for many people, it feels like the system forgot them. About 20% of adults in the last year reported 14 or more mentally unhealthy days per month, but couldn't see a provider often because of cost. Nearly 1/4 of adults with mental illness still don't get needed treatment. a rate that hasn't improved in over a decade. For youth, the outlook is grim. Among young people who had a major depressive episode, 62% did not receive mental health services. The shortages are especially bad in rural and underserved counties. Mental health professionals are heavily concentrated in coastal urban zones, leaving other regions nearly provider-free. It's like California built a mansion of mental health coverage but left entire rooms locked up, so many people never get inside. Homelessness in California is a crisis that just won't quit, and the numbers are brutal. As of 2024, about 187,084 people in the state were homeless on any given night, roughly 0.48% of the state population. Nearly 68% of them are unsheltered, meaning they sleep on streets, in vehicles, or tents, not in shelters. That's like expecting Golden State sunshine and ending up with rooftop tents and curbside campouts. Families, veterans, and youth are caught up too. Over 25,000 homeless are part of families, while thousands more are unaccompanied youth. Even with some efforts to add shelter beds and slow growth, the gap between need and solutions remains massive. So there you have it, the 11 biggest problems California just can't seem to fix. From devastating wildfires and persistent droughts to skyrocketing housing costs, traffic nightmares, and worsening pollution, the challenges are relentless. Throw in income inequality, mental health care gaps, drug abuse, crime, and homelessness, and it's clear that life in the Golden State isn't always golden. These issues affect millions of residents every day, and solutions remain frustratingly out of reach. California's beauty, innovation, and culture are undeniable, but so are its systemic struggles. Understanding these problems is the first step toward awareness and maybe one day, meaningful change. Even paradise has its battles, and California is proof.